I'm Jill and I am living the midlife. Well, it is almost the end of July. School will be here before we know it, so I wanted to talk about surviving your kids' senior year of high school. It is such a busy year with college and scholarship and financial aid applications and possible AP classes, senior presentations, and then if your kid is involved in any kind of extracurricular activities, it's even busier. And if they are busy, we're busy. First of all, you might be sad. First semester, I was already missing my child. I was in a mourning period, even though she wasn't going to be leaving me for another year. The best thing to do is just acknowledge that you're sad. That's normal. Throw in some extra hugs, some favorite meals, things you won't be able to do for your child once they move out and go to college or trade school or just move out and go get a job. However, it is important not to project your sadness onto your child. You don't want to make them feel guilty for growing up and moving on to their next phase. That's their job. Get involved in your kids' activities. This helps with the sadness and it's fun. If your kid's in sports, offer to help coach, be a driver, do a team dinner. If you have a theater kid, it's really easy to get involved because there's always something to do. Costumes, set building, backstage help, food. Don't be afraid to offer your services to those who are in charge, even if you don't feel qualified. Most people who work with teens are overcommitted and underpaid, and they're more than happy to get some assistance. And sometimes there really isn't anyone better than you, at least not who's available. That's how I found myself musical director for The Wizard of Oz, even though I'd never done that before. I had a blast. I got to spend time with all my kids' friends, and I learned something new, which is a good thing to do for my middle-aged brain. So it was a win-win situation. Offer to host a study group, even if it's just for one test. The offer of a space to hang and free food is an irresistible combination to most teens. First semester is also filled with college applications. Senior year is a time for parents to find the balance between being involved and giving independence. The college application process is where you want to be involved. Help your kids stay on top of deadlines. This is an appropriate time to nag because if your kid misses a deadline, he or she could miss an opportunity. Do not attempt to fill out your kid's college application process for them. That's just dumb. They have to do that for themselves, but you can help them organize their time, help them to prioritize, remind them of deadlines. I even went so far as to schedule an entire Saturday for my daughter. She was feeling totally overwhelmed trying to juggle multiple items, so I literally divided a day into chunks ranging from 20 minutes to 45 minutes. We went through the day. I would set the timer. She would stay with the task on hand. When the timer went off, she would move to the next task. It kept her moving so that if she was stuck on something, she wasn't just staring at a computer screen wondering what to write for an essay for hours on end. The timer would go off and she would then get a break and go and do something else and then come back to it. It also put a little fire under her because the timer was going, so she wasn't wasting time on social media. So by the end of the day, she'd made significant progress. We only did what I call this intervention once, but it helped her to get over a hump, so it was very productive. When it comes to non-college stuff, that is a good time to give your kid more space. Next year, you won't be there to hover over them, so if it takes them 5 times longer to get something done because they waste so much time, or they procrastinate, or whatever, so what? Back off. They usually get it done. And if they fail, then they've done so when you're there to help them pick up the pieces and process that and move on. Easier said than done. I know. There were times I literally had to leave the house and go take a walk just to keep myself from venting my frustration at my daughter. It's also a good time for prayer. Lots of prayer and some wine. And this is all first semester. One more thing about first semester. You're barely keeping afloat, and the yearbook staff is demanding pictures and ad copy if you want to say something nice about your kid when the yearbook comes out in June. So you've got to get senior pictures, and you may as well just go and schedule them now and get them over with because they're going to be due in October anyway. Oh, and if you want to write a touching ad about your kid to be in the yearbook, just pause this video right now and go write something sweet and heartfelt because your brain's going to be fried come November. My husband and I each took a stab at writing an ad for our daughter, and I think mine was something like, "We love you, Jillian. Sorry the whole Hogwarts thing didn't work out." Fortunately, my husband was able to come up with something more heartfelt and touching, so we went with his. She was really disappointed about Hogwarts, though. While you're at it, go ahead and order your child's graduation announcements through that company that publishes the yearbook. We didn't, and we may have saved a few dollars by ordering graduation announcements in the spring from some online company. But you know what? We were still scrambling second semester to find the time and the brain power and everything to place the order, whereas the people who'd ordered their announcements in the fall had had their announcements for weeks and were just blissfully sending them out. So just go ahead and get those out of the way early. By second semester, I'm happy to say that my mourning period for my daughter is over. I do think that the college application process is designed to help parents and students desire some space from each other. Now it's time for scholarship and financial aid applications, but hopefully by now your child is familiar with the application process and the time it takes to submit these, and you have learned to back off and just be a quiet support in the background while your kid does the work they need to do. This is a good time to show support for your kid by doing things like staying up as late as them once in a while. We can't do that all the time because we can't function if we stay up that late and then have to get up for work in the morning. But once in a while, I think it is nice for them to just know that they're not completely alone. Someone else is awake in the other room, and you can just quietly come by with a mug of hot chocolate once in a while to show some love. Finally, especially second semester, limit your non-family commitments. Be available for your child, even if it's just to be a loving presence. I hope I gave you some food for thought as you go into your child's senior year. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to write them in below. See you next time.